Vidizmo offers organizations robust authentication and authorization processes to ensure the highest level of security, with high flexibility of SSO integration, with several identity access management services, including Okta Identity Provider Service. Vidizmo allows you to utilize your Okta Identity Provider Service for facilitating your portal users with single sign-on SSO capabilities. Vidizmo makes the integration as easy as enabling or disabling your Okta SSO from within the platform in minutes. Let's look at setting up single sign-on using Okta Identity Provider Service. Single sign-on SSO is a user authentication process that allows your users to sign in to multiple applications using the same set of login credentials. This allows ease of use for the end users and ease of management for administrators. To configure Okta SSO with Vidizmo, you need to have an Okta developer account so that you can create an Okta application. To create an Okta account, visit the link stated on the screen. By the way, if more SSO apps have been configured and enabled on your portal other than Okta SSO, you will see multiple buttons on the login page allowing them to choose any identity provider of their choice to log into their Vidizmo portal. Vidizmo requires your Okta authorization server to expose a list of scopes to map attributes and provide user authentication. These scopes include profile, email, phone and groups. Profile refers to the user's first and last name are exposed and mapped in your Vidizmo account in this scope. The email refers to the user's email address as exposed and mapped in your Vidizmo account in this scope. Phone refers that the user's phone number is exposed and mapped in your Vidizmo account in this scope. Groups are a custom scope that must be exposed by your authorization server. You need to perform a few steps for configuration in Okta. First, you need to create an application in Okta to configure Okta SSO in Vidizmo by going to the link stated on the screen and entering your organization's URL that you received while creating your Okta developer account. The sign-in page, you need to enter your email address and password and click on Sign In. From the developer's dashboard, click on Add Application from the Application tab. From the Create New Application page, you need to choose Web as your platform and click Next to continue. Specify the name of the application and enter the base URI that is your portal's URL. Enter Login Redirect URI that specifies the URI where Okta will send the authorization response. This is your portal URL with SSO and Sign in Okta appended at the end. Now, add your Okta groups under Groups Assignments as it allows the users within these groups to perform SSO with Vidizmo. Under Grant Type Allowed, leave Authorization Code selected as it is by default and select Done to create the application. The users and groups that you want to allow to sign in to Vidizmo using their Okta credentials need to be assigned to your created application. From the Created Applications page, navigate to the Assignments tab. Expand the Assign to tab and click on Assign to People or Assign to Groups depending on whom you wish to assign the created application. Select the relevant users or groups and click Done to proceed. Once you've assigned the application to relevant users and groups, you can move on to the next section that is adding custom scope and claim. By default, Okta's authorization servers expose several scopes during user authentication that allow Vidizmo to map user information from your identity provider to Vidizmo. As Vidizmo synchronizes your Okta groups to your Vidizmo portal, you need to add a custom scope named Groups in the list of scopes exposed by your authorization server. To add a custom scope, expand API from the top menu bar, and select Authorization Servers. From the API page, click on the edit icon against your default authorization server and select Add Scope by navigating to the Scopes tab. A new pop-up for adding scope will appear. Here, you need to specify the name for the scope as Groups and add relevant description. Now, select the checkbox for default scope and metadata and click on Create to add the scope. Once the scope is created, navigate to the Claims tab and click on Add Claim. A new pop-up for Add Claim will appear. Here, specify the name for the claim and specify Include in Token. Specify type as Token ID. Now, select the value type as Groups from the drop-down menu. For filter, select Matches regex and specify asterisk as the condition. Specify the group scope as created in the previous section under the Include in attribute and click on Create to add the claim. Once you're done, you can see the created claim on the list. Navigate to your created application in the previous section. Under the General tab, you can see Client Credentials. Copy the client ID and client secret. Navigate to API, then navigate to Authorization Servers and then Default, under the Settings tab, and copy metadata URL. Once you have the resources required to configure Okta SSO in your Vidizmo portal, you need to perform few steps to configure Okta in Vidizmo portal. From the portal's homepage, click on the navigation menu on the top left corner and select Portal Settings under Admin. From the Portal Settings page, expand the Apps tab on the left-hand panel and click on Single Sign-On. Locate the Octa app on the screen and click on the Settings icon at the right-hand side and a new window will appear. The new window offers various fields. Enter the message that you want to display on your portal login screen for Okta login in the SSO login message. The text entered in the SSO login button label would display on the button used for Okta login. The client ID attribute is the unique identifier for the client application that was created in the previous section earlier, and client secret is used for accessing groups in your identity provider. Meta address is the metadata URL used to log into Okta. Here, you need to enter the URL of the app that you created in Okta. Requires HTTPS metadata checkbox can be selected to get the metadata. When the request is handled for the first time, it tries to retrieve some metadata from the authorization server. This metadata, or discovery document in OpenID Connect terminology, contains the public keys and other details needed to validate tokens. From the Force Login tab, you need to select the checkbox to enable forced login and it will take you directly to Okta. When unchecked, it will not redirect automatically to Okta and you will be required to sign in through your portal's sign-in screen. Callback path specifies the callback location where the authorization will be sent to your portal. Scope determines a space-delimited list of scopes. OpenID Connect uses scope values to specify what access privileges are being requested for access tokens. The scopes associated with access tokens determine which claims are available when they are used to access the OIDC or user info endpoint. The supported scopes include OpenID, profile, email, phone, groups, etc. Response type specifies the response type for OIDC authentication. Any combination of code, token, and ID_token is used and is an opaque value that can be used to redeem tokens from the token endpoint. Select Save Tokens to save the tokens. You need administrator privileges to save the tokens. API tokens have the same permissions as the user who creates them, and if the user permissions change, the API token permissions will also change. Get claims from userinfo endpoint option returns claims about the authenticated end-user if the userinfo endpoint claims need to be obtained implicitly. Attribute mapping allows you to map your attributes with Okta attributes. Once you're done, click on Save Changes and a notification will appear stating portal information updated successfully. Now, toggle the gear button at the right side of Okta to enable Okta Single Sign-On. Now, navigate to the portal's login screen and you can see the option Login with Okta. Well, that's all for this video. Check out some of our other guides to learn more about Vidizmo. Stay tuned until next time.